Welcome to the Become Sensible podcast, where we discuss practical accounting, finance, and tax for everyday business. I'm your host, Fiona, and I'm here to show you that no matter what your business financial situation is, you can change it. Good morning. Welcome to the podcast Become Sensible. My name is Fiona, and we talk about an important topic today with my co-host, Anne.
Our case for today is pretty special. We wanted to focus on people who work in the creative industry and people who focus on e-commerce or any digital products that they sell. And we really want to focus on the sales tax aspect of it.
Yeah, so normally if you follow our podcast, you will know that like every 2 weeks we talk about like a practical case situation. And today our client is a creative who run an e-commerce store
Mhm.
and who have like challenging and overwhelming with the sales tax and business accounting and finance for manage their creative business and e-commerce store. And so let's dive in.
Yeah. So as we know, just being a creative, you have to the whole creative process is pretty big, and then you also have to manage your marketing and your sales as well. So I think a lot of creatives out there doesn't even know when they start out and selling their products that there's sales tax for your creative work as well.
Yeah. So basically, like I know it's just like suddenly you start a business and there's a ton of compliance and
Hmm.
things that you need to take care.
Right.
And one of them is sales tax. And so normally sales tax it just involves on a product base
Hmm.
or like later now they have a digital product that like downloadable products
Hmm.
also have a sales tax. But if you just provide a service,
Hmm.
like if you a creative agency that you just do like marketing consultant, those don't have a like sales tax at all.
Right.
But if you sell the product, a digital product, it will have a sales tax. And I know suddenly you start a business and then now there's the thing for sales tax that you need
Mhm.
to comply with.
Right. And so this only applies for more like product-based stuff. Like you can't apply it to like service, like consulting.
Yeah,
Right.
yes.
Mhm. I think there's mention of there's Nexus when it comes to like sales tax,
Yeah.
especially for when you're selling products in many different states.
Yes.
Like, so if you're selling stuff in like New York, but the next week you have to go sell stuff in New Jersey, like how would you go about that?
Yeah. So states cannot like automatically impose
Mhm.
sales tax on your business unless you have a nexus.
Mhm.
And what is the nexus? Nexus is a connection between your business with the state.
Mhm.
And that connection, either you have an employee who live in that state, or is it like you have a customer that you need to deliver the product
Mhm.
to that state, or
Right.
you have a like physical location like inventory warehouse or like an office location in that state
Mhm.
that create the nexus with the state.
Okay.
And then the state normally it has the threshold. So like once you pass certain threshold, like depends on the state. Some states like $100,000
Mhm.
in the amount of transaction that you have with the state. Then that start from there. You need to collect the sales tax.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. And then like I said in like the previous example, like there are a lot of creatives that sell their stuff throughout the country in like multiple different states. If you're in New York this week and then you're in New Jersey next week, how are you supposed to know what sales tax to collect
Yeah.
and like which one to pay?
And I love the fact that you use the example of like state of New York because all tax professional we know that New York State is the most complicated
Hmm.
state in terms of like regulation and in terms of tax.
Right.
So the other thing is your main question is like if you sell in one state, is New York, or next week, if you have a like trade show or an event that you
Hmm.
come and you like sell your product and you sell that at that the trade show or the event, what should you do? So
Hmm.
there's the process of it. Number one, you need to research about the state. So that is like what is their requirement, what is the minimum amount, what is the process that their requirement.
Hmm.
Number two, most of the state for you to actually can sell the present product in physical location with that,
Mm-hmm.
you need to create a sales tax ID with the state. You register it, and then after that is like they will tell you, okay, this is will be tax rates if you are certain limitation on the threshold or something like 5%, 6%. It depends on the state.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, and you sell and you collect the sales tax, and then you after the event you need to file the form and with the information and the amount, normally like gross amount, like for example you sell at that event $20,000, you multiply with that 5.6%, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we go into the filing state.
Mm-hmm.
But one other thing that I think many business owners they make a mistake is this. So basically, like for example, if I sell my event, the event that sale was October 31st.
Mm-hmm.
October 31st, the sale happened and you deliver, you give the product to your customer. I mean, the sale happened in October. It doesn't mean sale happened in November 1st.
Okay.
So if your processing company, your credit card company, processing merchant processing the credit card payment,
Mm-hmm.
they will not deposit the money for you until like November 1st.
Okay.
But the sale happened in October 31st. So make sure that you actually record that transaction under October 31st
Okay.
because it's that happened and then you file the sales tax by the due date of the state. Many of the state will be like on the 15th of the next month.
Mm-hmm.
But if you recognize it's November 1st, then you think that your due date to file is December 15th, which is
Right.
1 month later.
Uh-huh.
And they can come back and they say, okay, they create the penalties and interest
Oh.
because you recognize the revenue in the wrong
Right.
periods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely see so many people making that mistake.
Yeah, it
Just 'cause
is.
it's like right on in the middle of like the 2 months.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then for like sales tax, if you're making sales between like different states, like if you're in one state but you made a sale into another state, which sales tax would you be paying?
So normally sales tax is on the customer destination.
Okay.
So that is like if, for example, I'm living in Virginia and
Mhm.
for example, my sister live in Kansas
Right.
and I want to buy a gift and deliver to Kansas instead to Virginia. And so then the sales tax will be collect for the state of Kansas instead of Virginia state. And that will be like filing for state of Kansas.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So the destination is where it matters the most.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Okay, I understand. Okay. But if you're making sales in so many different states, especially
Yeah.
for e-commerce businesses or
Yeah.
like smaller businesses that
Yeah.
like I think it would be pretty overwhelming for a creative to do their own research on like if they're making sales in 50 states, they can't do research on all 50 states, you know? Like,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty impossible. What's the workaround?
So I think one of the thing is the first step. If you can't do research yourself, you need to hire a professional that will like understand the sales tax,
Mhm.
and they make the research for you. The base like okay, this is the threshold for each state,
Mhm.
and then from there and then they advise you the system and the software that help you to track with it.
Mhm.
I think like nowadays a lot of system that can help you a lot in terms of like sales tax.
Mhm.
Like for example, like if your back end of your website is Shopify, it's helped you a lot in terms it allows you like the threshold that you pass the threshold for the state
Right.
or like tax chart also the system that you can plug in into the back end and
Mhm.
it's help you to trace this information and give you the advice, the feedback. So
Okay.
have a professional help you research about it. The second thing is have a system that have you like track it automatically,
Okay.
not like you manually or have it a spreadsheet to
Mhm.
like do it.
Yeah.
Of course, once you start, there's not always that you have every system in the place.
Mhm.
But the more that you grow, the more that you need to have a system that have you like it's so efficient. It saves you so much time
Right.
and confusion.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I think Shopify sounds pretty attractive for most e-commerce businesses right now. Being able to keep track of that threshold like automatically is pretty big perks of using Shopify that most people are using it now. Like it's like an industry standard.
I think I don't really know we like advertising for
Oh yeah.
Shopify.
Uh-huh.
But one other thing is that I know like some pretty big company that have a revenue like 1 or 3 billion, their back end of the system still use Shopify
Oh wow.
because it's very robust system that you can like import the SKU and all the information into the system very easy. That so in terms of operation and like make the sale and then compliance in terms of like trace how much word percentage like the sale tax you collect for each state. This make it pretty much like easier for you because the system is built in with this function.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think another big part that creatives worry about is their bookkeeping as well.
Yeah.
That can also be like an overwhelming part of their process other than sales tax.
Yeah.
What would you advise for creatives that are feeling overwhelmed or like trying to manage their finances and bookkeeping?
Yeah, so bookkeeping with the e-commerce store is very important in any like business, but like with the product base is very important because like you imagine that you sell like a blenders $20, but you sell thousand of them a month, or you sell hundred of them per month, uh, per day. The amount of time that you need to like manually enter for it, this sell receive, sell receive, it will like take you forever to finish this
That'd
thing.
be impossible.
Yeah, it will take you forever. So that's why need to have a system, a very robust accounting system that it can sync with the back end of your website, like sync with Shopify, connect well with Shopify. And then there is API tools that is make the conversation, that make the connection between Shopify and the accounting software that
Right.
it book a bunch of journal entry. I know now it's become technical accounting.
A little
That-
bit.
but it's speak the
Mhm.
process of it.
Right.
And that is make your information is precisely correct. Like how many pen that you sell per day and
Right.
what type of colors it's go in very detailed. And I think like in terms of like financial report, when you go in the data coming the more detailed and accurate, the better it out when it's coming like in terms of financial report and in terms of decision as the business owner too. Because like if I all like recognize this as a pen, then you don't know whether it's pen with the like highlight colors or is it just regular pen.
Right.
That just make it harder for you to like actually track it. Then some of the business owner need to like logging into Shopify to look at revenue and logging into QuickBooks to see the expense. That is like lack of efficiency between like the system.
Right.
But nowadays, if you use a very good API tool software to connect between two of them, it makes the process so much fast and easier.
Right.
And once you have the information is accurate and it detailed, it's easy for you to make the business decision.
That makes sense. So I think API tool is not something that like everyone is familiar with, but can they expect that their accountant, like if they were to hire their accountant, like that's something like their accountant would walk them through, or like what should you expect from your accountant?
I mean, like a great accountant would know. So that's the thing. So
Yeah.
one of the things I recognize this is nowadays there's a lot of tool in the accounting field to use, but then you need to select the accounting company that they more tuning with the change in the technology in the fields.
Okay.
When they use it and they know this, it's help you in terms of as business owner, it's easier for you. So make sure that you get a new generation of accountant. They tuning with the change in technology, then it help you so much as the business owner. You need to make sure you question them on
Oh,
those things.
right. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it is common for out there that accountants that just does like the grunt work, like just file your taxes, just do
Yeah.
your bookkeeping, and they're done for the day.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's important that you look into who you're hiring if you do decide to hire.
Yeah.
I think another one of the biggest challenge for this client was that they were overwhelmed with trying to balance between their creating time and managing their business side as well.
Yeah.
So how would you advise them to help them with their burnout?
Yeah, so that is more the question about entrepreneurship than about like tax and finance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the couple episode ago, like couple weeks ago, I talked about how to turn from a struggle business to become a thriving business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just most of us when we started the business because we have a passion, we have a skill, we have experience or expertise in one certain thing,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not like know everything and expert in everything.
Right.
And that's just why like it's very hard when you actually run a business that you need to know marketing, HR, operation, finance, and
Mm-hmm.
creative and do the work that you need to do.
Right.
So it's very overwhelming, and that is the fact of running the business.
Mm-hmm.
So if we say that it's easier, it's not true. This
Mm-hmm.
is basically it hardcore hard.
Right.
But the thing is, a business, there's just two things
Okay.
at the core of the business. Number one is you solve a problem
Mm-hmm.
for your potential customer or clients.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, if I have acne, I need to have a skincare that have me not having acne. That is my problem. And you start a business because you have technologies or you know how to create that product. It doesn't have a like, it will help me to solve that problem that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, if I have acne, I cannot use a product a year later to see the result.
Mm-hmm.
What I expect is like in a month or something.
Right.
So if you can deliver that result, that is like deliver the result that you promised to your potential customer
Mm-hmm.
or clients. That's just two things that you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And everything you build around is like operation, products, marketing, sales, building around is so that is make this core thing
Right.
going on
Mm-hmm.
and work well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's how you would break down your thought process or like to prioritize things like you would just break it down to those two core questions
Yeah.
and then build on top of that
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah. That is the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Even I think like even art and other like creative like a painting or art is art itself also like to solve something some problem somewhere over
Mm-hmm.
there,
Right.
but it's differences of
Right.
problem.
Mhm.
So it's just whether you can like down to the core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely more abstract when it comes to
Yeah.
creative products or like art products,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Mm. And then so I'd say it's not just about being financially organized, but also being kind of protective of your creative time as well.
Yeah. So I always say like what you do in the day will result in weeks, months, and years.
Uh-huh.
So the core of everything is just end up to be like how you manage your days.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless you do logical work or you do creative work,
Mm-hmm.
you need to take your priority time that for the thing that important and also on your strength too. Because if your strength is creative, but you also need to be like switch your brain into logical work. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the exactly research how much is the statistics number coming out,
Uh-huh.
but I say basically every time you switch tasks, it will make your brain delay the process. Like
Mm-hmm.
it takes so much effort for your brain to change between tasks.
Right.
And so if like I do creative and then I do logical and then I do creative and then I talk to people, my
Mm-hmm.
brain it needs to be like a lot of efforts and
Right.
energy to change
Mm-hmm.
between tasks. And I think one of the very famous person is Sarah Blakely.
Mm-hmm.
And she say that is one of the things that she changed is like she had the team for each day of the week. For example, like Wednesday, like she will spend majority of the time to work on marketing.
Okay.
And then like Monday is like for sales, for example, like to meeting with her staffs. So that's help her like make the brand like block into the primary task
Mm-hmm.
that have her like reduce the switching time a lot. Of
Okay.
course, like every single day you need to approve something as the business owner,
Right.
but it's like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you spend like 3 hours from here, there, and you switch like every 30 minutes
Yeah.
to do things. That's make your brain tired and overwhelming too.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's all about just like keeping up your rhythm and your momentum
Yeah.
when it comes to like scheduling your time.
Yes, yes.
Mhm. That makes sense. Just so Also, I read your saying of how days the results in your months or weeks or months or years too,
Yes.
because I feel like that's pretty accurate. Just like your daily routine can like set your lifestyle for like weeks or months moving forward.
Yeah, I always say, okay, this is my priorities,
Mhm.
but why is not showing up anywhere in my days? Then there's something wrong with my scheduling.
Uh-huh.
I need to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's really cool. I'm gonna start using that.
yeah.
I think there's also a question of like scaling your business as as much as there's like the client was struggling, they also want us to know about like scaling. What type of bookkeeping system would you use? When would you change it to a different type of system?
I think like for small business, QuickBook Online is pretty like robust system
Hmm.
for you to scale up to
Right.
like even like $25 million. I
Oh,
still see clients you like QuickBook
yeah,
Online.
that's really
So,
cool.
so it's very scalable.
Hmm.
And then of course like later once you like want because accounting system is has this. It needs to be like efficiency.
Hmm.
It support the process. But like the more company, the more like you grow, the company bigger in terms of revenue and the staff working for you,
Hmm.
there is more complexity in terms of accounting
Hmm.
procedure.
Right.
Like whether like who will post the journal entry. Now it's going to technical accounting. But like who will post the journal entry, who will approve for it, all
Mhm.
of that. That's create more functional role in terms of accounting and finance department.
Right.
Then you need different accounting system that have more functional role
Hmm.
and the process that can be like Oracle NetSuite,
Hmm.
Microsoft software, accounting software, but I don't. I say
not
important
not to
system.
get too deep.
Yeah, not to get too deep,
Yeah.
but there's many different options. But as a
Mhm.
small business owners, up to 20 to $25 million accounting,
Mhm.
like QuickBook Online, is pretty robust.
Okay.
Even you like service based or product based, and then after that, like we can talk later.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then there's also like if you're hiring your new accountant or something, I think some people would ask the question if like would you rather use accrual or like cash bookkeeping?
Yeah. Oh, that's a very important question to ask. So basically, like this happen a lot.
Mhm.
We as small business owner, most of the time we think about cash. When cash hits bank account, we recognize revenue.
Right.
When we pay the people and the money withdraw from our bank account, we recognize expense.
Mhm.
But that is not standardized accounting regulation at all.
Mhm.
Standardized follow that in Americas and in other
Right.
countries called IFRS, but
Mhm.
they're more similar. It needs to be in accrual accounting, which
Okay.
just means that if the sale happen and I deliver, I need to recognize that revenue even you haven't paid for me yet.
Okay.
Or like you send me the invoice for the work that you do, but I
Mhm.
haven't paid for you, I still need to recognize that as an expense.
Mhm.
That's basic accrual accounting. And why accrual accounting is important? Because it's follow the standard. So
Mhm.
in the future, if I start a company and in future, in next 3 years, I need to raise fund. And
Right.
especially in product-based business, it need a lot of funding
Mhm.
compared to service based because their capital for inventory, for all these things, it take more capital than a service pay because
Mhm.
service you sell the talent and the skill and the experience.
Right.
You don't need to buy inventory, you don't need to have prototype, you don't need to have a minimum quantity orders to your suppliers.
Mhm.
And that's why it doesn't eat up a lot of cash. But in product base,
Mhm.
you need a lot of fund to do that.
Right.
And with funding, there's no investor will give you fund without a accrual accounting
Okay.
financial report.
Mhm.
So make sure that you use any system that it give you that option.
Okay.
And any of your bookkeeping bookkeepers or
Mhm.
accounting company that do, they need to like give you that option. Otherwise, down to the you basically need to hire someone, I mean, clean and make it accurate accounting.
Mhm.
And it's $5,000-10,000 to do it.
Wow.
Depends on the volume of transaction that you have to.
So it's pretty important that you kind of pick this early on as well. Just like not just pick accrual accounting in general, but like early on into the business, like you stick with it so that you have the chance of receiving funding eventually if you do decide to
Yeah,
scale
yeah.
up.
That is why I mean, like in accounting is very important for you, and in compliance, very important that we do the thing right when we start, because this will take you less overwhelming confusion and cost you less money
Right.
when you do it right at the beginning.
Yes. And cause you less anxiety too. Just because
Yes.
when it comes to regulations and
Yeah.
a lot of people get very stressed for sure.
Yes. Yes.
I think that might be all the questions that this specific client had for us for today.
Yeah.
But I came up with some questions that people in this field would have similar question or like common questions as well. So I'm
No.
just gonna rapid fire them to you, and then you're just gonna answer them. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the first one is, what happens if I haven't been collecting sales tax and I just found out I'm supposed to?
Yeah. So that unfortunately situation,
Yeah.
just basically like to understand whether like what is the thresholds. If you pass that threshold with the state, there's no way you come back to like customer say, hey, you need to pay the sales tax. So you probably like need to talk with the state in that situation, what their suggestion,
Right.
but like basically start from there to move forward, register and do it right at that time. But always talk with the state, and sometimes people they can understand too.
Right.
But that is why very important have a research and professional advise you right when you start, so that you don't have a oof, I forgot.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important. Just like starting out strong is like very important. if
Yeah.
you're owning a business. Do I need to keep receipts for every little thing I buy for my business?
So I think like most of the time we do like materials and sometimes like major purchases. But at least like from $100 and above, you keep the receipt because it become material. But I don't think that it's matter if you have like $3 receipt that you miss somewhere, because I can't believe that you will miss like 1,000 of receipt of $3. So that's not to be like a big problem at all.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous to miss $3,000 worth of tiny receipts.
Yeah.
Okay. How often should I actually be looking at my finances if I'm terrible at managing money?
So I think like I learned this concept and it's changed my life, and I think it's applied for everything
Okay.
in life and in the business too. That is the concept about neuroplasticity at an adult.
Okay.
So we actually can learn something even when we are adult, but it's required focus, your intention, and your repetition. So, and money and finance, it is learnable skill.
Okay.
So what you can do is you need to like hire someone explain thing for you so
Right.
that you can understand it, number one. And then you repeat doing it. So most of the time people when they scare about finance, they don't look at it.
Right. Yeah.
But to be good at your finance, accounting, and money, you need to look at it more often so that your brain start like learning about it and repeat and memorize it. And people always think that they need to be good at math to be good at money. But it's not true.
That's not true.
Yeah, now you have a calculator and spreadsheet, so
Yeah.
it's calculate everything for you. You don't need to do that, but it's just the process to learn about the concept and do it again and again.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there's like a lot of people, it's like a saying that like kids learn better than adults. Like it's easier to learn as a kid than
Which
as
is
an adult,
true.
right?
Which is true because neuroplasticity happen easily with kids.
Okay.
After we 27 years old, it require effort.
More effort.
Yeah, but
Okay.
our brain can change.
Right.
Well, they say the concept, what is the neuron that wired together will stay together.
Yeah.
So basically, the learning processes happen when you actually try to rewire these connection,
Okay.
and it changes all the time. But it's
Right.
just require effort.
Mhm.
Most of the time, we as adults, we don't have time.
Uh-huh.
So that's why it's harder, but
Mhm.
it can happen.
It definitely can happen. Okay, next question is what happens if I miss a sales tax deadline?
Then you need to wait a bit until for that. That's just one thing, but it's always I think like if small amount, you can ask for waiving
Okay.
with the state,
Mhm.
but most of the time they will charge you some penalty on it.
Okay.
So that's just why make sure that you know, okay, where's the deadline
Mhm.
and how much is the threshold with the state.
Mhm.
Like for example, it's just like $100,000 threshold. You make sure that your system is tracking the sale to that state. And
Mhm.
number one. Number two is the deadline normally is on the 15th of next month.
Mhm.
So like all the sale that happening in this month will be due on the 15th of November.
Right.
But of course, like depends on the amount of tax too. If
Mhm.
the state say like so small, if it allows you to file under like quarterly.
That
So
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah.
So less often.
Yes.
And then, so do I really need to keep track of every sale I make, even small ones?
Nowadays every sale is happening through the system. So
That's
like a
true.
merchant credit card processing,
Mhm.
everything you sell is actually goes through the system.
Right.
So you don't actually keep track there because they will record it for you
Right.
unless you sell it by card. But
Mhm.
everything nowadays goes through the system because without system you can't process card.
Mhm.
So I think that you don't actually put effort to track everything if you
Mhm.
use that merchant system to do it.
Mhm.
But of course, if you sell cars, you need to
Yeah.
have a register somewhere that you record all of this.
Yeah. So you shouldn't worry about it too much other than if you sell mostly in cash.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what's the biggest mistake creatives make when it comes to finances?
I think one of the biggest mistakes that they make is
Mhm.
that because they know that they are creative,
Mhm.
so they're more strong, have a strength in creative,
Mhm.
and that they always scare to think about finance.
Mhm.
But like again, neuroplasticity is happen when you do it again and again.
Right.
So instead of like put off it and don't look at it,
Mhm.
do it more often.
Uh-huh.
At first, it's scary,
Mhm.
but like with a professional, they will explain everything.
Mhm.
Like for like our company, us, client asks us any question. We explain that for them in the way that they can understand.
Right.
And because of that, they feel like, okay, I know this thing. And then they do it.
Mhm.
And then when they do it, they see the result, it's feedback for them, the result, and it gives them the confidence
Mhm.
to do it again. So avoid that mistake that delay everything. Just like take it in and do it right away.
Mhm.
Then everything getting like easier for them, I think, because
Yeah.
it's become familiar and you have the confidence in the thing that you do.
Right. Yeah. I think that's definitely one of our strong points for our company is that transparency and like the feedback that the clients would get whenever we would explain our process to them. So
Yeah,
that's really cool.
yeah.
But I think that's all the questions I have for today. If you guys have any other questions, definitely leave it in the comments below or like let us know if you want us to review your specific case personally as well.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate your time and we want to listen to your feedback, your comment, and share with your business bestie if the podcast is helpful for you.
Mhm.
We appreciate your time and we cannot wait for to see you in the future. Bye bye.